started in France, the race is now tightening between the two front-runners for the April 24th runoff. Far-right leader and candidate Marine Le Pen is now staging a comeback in the polls as her presidential campaign gains momentum. Le Pen has notched the highest ever score for herself in the opinion polls. Now, in an opinion poll of a likely runoff against Emmanuel Macron, Le Pen has captured 48.5% of voter intentions. Now, this is the highest score she has ever secured. The study from April 1st to 4th puts Macron's rating at 51.5%. According to the Harris Interactive poll, this is the first time that the two finalists of the presidential election are in such a close race. In 2017, Macron won the runoff vote against Le Pen with 66%. Another poll by Opinionway and KR Partners also forecast a narrowing 53 to 47% margin of error, rather margin of victory for Macron. In the past few months, Macron's victory has been considered almost a foregone conclusion. But the research firm Harris Interactive has now said that a victory by Macron is within the margin of error. This poll is in line with every other survey conducted over the last month. All of them still show Macron as a likely winner. But since Macron began the campaign with a delay, there is still substantial reduction in his lead, something to be careful about for him. Macron is distracted, of course, by the Ukraine crisis. He has focused on rather unpopular economic reforms, including raising the retirement age. On the other hand, Le Pen focused on the declining purchasing power of the middle and low-income voters. Another major issue in the country currently is pension reform. Now, Macron plans to increase the legal age at which one gets a full pension from 62 to 65. But Le Pen wants to keep the 62-year-old threshold. She also wants to bring it down to 60 years and for those who started working before the age 20. But Macron argues that raising the retirement age is needed to make the system viable and increase low pensions. Less than 1 week ahead of the first election round, Le Pen's ratings have continued to improve for both the first round and the April 24th runoff. This means Le Pen's campaign is working well in her favour. Now, to give us a better sense about what political commentators are saying about who may be the next president, our correspondent Ross Cullen is now joining us live from Paris. Ross, thanks so much for joining us. As we've been reporting on WION, this is quite a tight, action-packed race, given what the polls are saying at this point. What is the sentiment in the country? What are political experts predicting at this point?
Well, we've got 3 days to go now until that first round of the presidential election. All 12 candidates in the race will be standing in that round, from the far left, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, to the far right, Eric Zemmour, and with the more likely candidates to make it through to the second round, Emmanuel Macron, the centrist incumbent, standing along with, as you've been mentioning, Marine Le Pen, the right-wing nationalist. Just 3 days to go into the vote, 2 days left of campaigning before the rules come in over the weekend. The hustings and rallies have to finish by Friday. So there is a real frantic final push for votes. Candidates crisscrossing the country to different rallies across from the north to the south, east and west to try to get those final votes that could push them into being in the top two. If you finish in the top two in the first round, that takes you through to the face-to-face runoff on April the 24th. And at the moment, it seems that Marine Le Pen is managing to siphon off some of the support given initially to her far-right rival, Eric Zemmour. She has been rising in the opinion polls, now over 20%. It seems that the challenger to her would potentially be Jean-Luc Mélenchon for that second place in the second round. Emmanuel Macron, as you've also mentioned, the incumbent, is leading the polls at the moment.
Absolutely. Now, given how tight this race is, let's talk about some of the recent comments. Emmanuel Macron recently accused Le Pen of being too close to the Russian President Vladimir Putin. How is this statement affecting her popularity?
Well, she actually has maintained quite a lot of popularity. She started campaigning last year, focusing on rising prices, rising inflation, purchasing power as well. Although she did take in a dent at the start of the war in Ukraine, when it was shown that she had chosen for one of her campaign leaflets a colour photo of her shaking hands with Vladimir Putin. That was decided by Marine Le Pen's team not perhaps to be a vote winner, and so she had to throw away more than 1 million pamphlets ads that had already been printed. She has been taking some hits, but not as much as has been shown to Eric Zemmour. He has really suffered from his past sympathies for the Russian leader, saying once that he had dreamed of a French Putin to come and save France.
Right.
Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the far-left candidate for France Unbowed, had also shown sympathies in the past for President Putin.
Right, Ross Cullen, thank you so much for all those inputs. Thanks for joining us on WION. We, of course, will be tracking all the movement and the verdict very closely here on WION. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.